What's up, everybody? It's SJG, and this is the D2 football show on HBCU game day. And if you can't tell by my outfit, it is October 1st. It is officially spooky season. We started quarter number 4, and a lot of spooky things are happening. Let's go. I saw something, almost out of a horror film for Lincoln. Let me go ahead and run that clip, Kobe.
Good God, that's a big old front.
Go. Oh, and they gave it to him. Oh, touchdown! Oh
my! Yeah, buddy, it's spooky season. Oh man, that was fun. That was worth the drive. We got Chris and Kobe rocking with us. I don't know that Kobe knew he was going to be on camera, but hey, weird, spooky things are happening in the HBCU world. Yeah, thanks, Kobe. It is Chris, man. How are you doing today? First day of October.
I'm good, man. I'm good. This is where things get real interesting.
Yeah, it's scary out here for some teams, man. It's real scary. Yeah, I'd like to talk about a lot of B2A last week. There was a lot of B2A last week. Some we expected, some we didn't. All right, but let's start off with our game of the week, Kobe, which would be not Florida State, not that FSU, Fayetteville State, Virginia State Clips, and we'll get started. Yeah, Chris. So this was a matchup that what were your thoughts on this matchup? It was 34-14 win. It was almost a B2A by Fayetteville State.
I mean, it could have been labeled that for kind of what happened here. In my column last week, I was like, these are all these games are clear favorites. So I was like, well, let's talk about how some of these teams that are not for the underdogs could win. And in this particular case, Fayetteville State did exactly what I thought they had to do with this game. They took advantage of what everybody has been doing to Virginia State lately, which is picking on their secondary. And you talk about scary things, man. Scary things is that secondary watching the ball fly. And so man, I just have to say that yeah, they got 2 picks off of DeMar Daniels, but it ain't really matter here in this game, mainly because Fayetteville State did what they had to do to slow down R.J. Matthews and that offense enough to make things happen. I think the other thing that really stood out is just the way that DeMar Daniels, the quarterback for FSU, was a little bit more patient in some ways, and he's kind of a dual threat. So his ability to sort of extend plays really played out. And then hats off to that Fayetteville State defensive line. Even they got in on the scoring action with Isaiah Boyd recovering the ball off a strip sack off of R.J. Matthews in the end zone. So, it was a great game. Both defenses had their moments, but man, that was Fayetteville State's day, and it was a trap game. I mean, I thought it was every bit of a trap game. VSU going in as a top 25 team and going right back out.
Yeah. I tried to find some tears for the Trojans, but I didn't have them. Yeah. So no, but nah, it's man, it was definitely. I thought that this could be a close game, and I thought that maybe Fayetteville State could eke it out, but I didn't think that it was going to be a potential B2A. Again, I got a chance to watch Matthews the previous week against Winston-Salem State, and he ran wild against those guys. But hey, that Fayetteville State defense clearly learned that they were not going to let him beat them with his feet. I think he did throw the ball like 38 times, and he had quite a bit of yardage. But it's a different situation when he's got to sit back there and be a pocket passer. And man, so kudos to Fayetteville State, who is certainly now on a roll. We're talking about we're talking about Johnson. Well, we'll talk about Johnson C. Smith. We talk about Virginia State falling out of the top 25. Now UNC Pembroke, who they lost to earlier, is now in the top 25. So even though that's their rival, maybe it doesn't look as bad as it seemed earlier in the year. So definitely Fayetteville State, a team to keep an eye on. We'll talk about them a little bit more in this race. But let's get into the B2A.
Hey, Steven, before we do that, do you know who UNC Pembroke beat to get into the top 25? Your least favorite school. Your least favorite school.
Come on.
No, Valdosta State.
Oh, yeah. Them too. Yeah. Blank.
Yep. Shutout. So I mean, that's how.
So how do we look at that? How does that change your I mean, again, it's the fake VSU, aka Valdosta hate, but they squeaked by Clark Atlanta. Johnson C. Smith was able to beat them, and then they got blanked by UNC Pembroke. How do we feel about that win earlier in the year? I mean, hey, can't take it away from them. They beat them.
Well, it still matters. I think that it's still a decent win. It's not like it doesn't have the luster that we had at the beginning of the season. But when you look at some of the teams that both conferences are beating or getting really close to beating, I mean, it really looks good. I mean, I know I saw a post about Winston's win over Mars Hill. Looks a lot better than we could have thought at this point in the season, Mars Hill being 3-1. But Valdosta is down. But hey, anytime you can take one of those blue bloods down, it's a good thing.
Gotcha. No, I definitely understood. So I guess I could have saved that for buy or sell, but you know what? Hey, we just kind of got into the flow there. But appreciate everybody for tuning in. And now, Kobe, I hope you have got your sound effects for this one, because there was a whole lot, Kobe. There was a whole lot of B2A last week. I mean, up and down the East Coast. From the CIAA to the SIAC, everybody was getting it. It seemed like. Let's start off. Yeah.
That's fitting. That one. That one, I felt that one. That's fitting with some of these games we got to talk about.
Albany State. They're playing the Allen team that a lot of people said, hey, maybe they're a sleeper. I think I said maybe they're the Livingstone of the SIAC. Albany State said, dead noise. Isaiah Knowles didn't throw for 5 touchdowns, but he didn't need to. And they still got to B2A. Johnson C. Smith Durham against Bluefield State. I mean, we all knew where that was. I mean, most teams are going to pound on Bluefield State. That's just the way that it is. So, 4 touchdowns for Durham. We'll talk about him. Central State. Now, they've been on the other side of some B2As this year. But, hey, they put it on Lane College in Rochester, New York. So there's that. Definitely saw this one coming. We talked about Virginia Union and Shaw, and we definitely knew that this B2A was coming. Virginia Union does not take it lightly on anyone, especially when they get one of these bottom feeders. They just seem to take a certain joy in just putting these folks in the dirt.
That's a good way to put it.
I mean, they just take a certain joy of putting themselves in the dirt. They like to bully folks when they can. So, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second. But we also have Benedict. B2A to Clark Atlanta. Clark Atlanta, woo, woo, woo. Can you woo, woo, woo? No, they could not woo, woo, woo on Saturday after that beatdown. I think we need another sound effect. I think we need another sound effect for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Clark. Yeah, Clark. Go ahead. You got another one coming. And then Chris, then this one was an interesting one. This is the one that I went to. Yeah, man, this is the one that I went to, and we saw that Livingstone against Lincoln. We wondered, could they score enough? Could it be a B2A? I said maybe a B2A, Chris. Did you say B2A?
No, I did not.
You did?
I did not.
B2A with the big boy belt.
Yeah.
They need all the belts they can.
I just want to say, Division One, they had their version of the big boy run with Alabama, and when Livingstone pulled that out, I mean, what can you really say? That just puts the icing on the cake.
Poor Lincoln. At least they did sully up enough dignity to go down the field and keep from getting a shutout. That's the only way that this could have been any worse. But Livingstone now 3-1 in the CIAA. Again, a great win for Virginia Union, but as has been the case a lot this year, the penalties. We'll go ahead and roll that first part of this clip, Kobe, as Coach Parker talked about that.
It's been extremely a focal point for us. We made a thing. Those guys got to start paying up into a cookie fund now. I like insomnia cookies. So all of those guys that start to get penalties, they're gonna start to pay into that insomnia cookie fund. So on Sunday I can go right on up the street and load up on a box of insomnia. But it's something that's just got to happen. It's probably been the most penalties we had since I've been here to start the season off. But these guys are playing with a lot of effort and a lot of energy. So some of those things are going to happen. Saturday we got hit with a few celebration penalties. So you only get to celebrate when you're scoring. That was something that the last few weeks those guys kind of had gotten away with, and I saw a few new dances on Saturday and some other stuff that I probably don't want to see again. But it's something we got to get better at. And going down the stretch, you want to make sure you're just playing a great brand of football, and being low in that penalty categories mean that you're doing that. So it's a few other categories we want to get better in as well. But our eyes on getting better at that in penalty phase.
Right. We'll hear more from Dr. Parker in just a second, Chris. But your thoughts this week overall on the B2As that we saw? The beat down in Raleigh. What?
I mean, VUU had over 400 yards of rushing in that game.
Damn near 5.
Yeah. And it was 286 yards, for Curtis Allen. I mean, they didn't really have to do a ton of passing. They just imposed their will. It was wrong. They shouldn't have done that. Come on. But, I think the bigger surprise is Benedict and what Benedict was able to do against Clark. I mean, Clark's defense is optional. And so when you have a situation where, an offense, a defense, and special teams can score, what happened, you can't, that's a train you can't stop in a situation like that. I mean, Benedict's looking really good right now. They have found their footing and they have taken off. So
yeah, dug into the numbers there. Darius Ocean didn't have a super efficient day, only 9 of 20, but I mean they still were able to put up the yards. So it's pretty interesting what's going on over there in the SIAC, where there was a lot of B2A over there. Let's move to our next segment. And you know what? I did get a copyright strike somewhere earlier because of this. So as much as we love Brandy, you'll just have to hear me sing. Every time you build me up, you only let me down. Everybody knows almost doesn't count. All right. So, we'll talk about Edward Waters, who last week We're talking about whether or not they should be ranked, and they damn near lost to Morehouse. So there's that. Morgan State, by the skin of its bare teeth, barely beat the Golden Bears. But I mean, if a bear beats a Golden Bear in Indianapolis and only 3,000 people show up to see it, did they really beat the Golden Bear? Tough sledding for the yeah, tough sledding. And then we'll go to another game. This is one that Kobe got a chance to see, so we'll roll some of Kobe's work here. WSSU. These guys, they just love this almost doesn't count. At least this time it was in the opposite direction. 28-21 win over Bowie State. Your thoughts, Chris?
Well, I mean, I think Kobe summed this up really well on another earlier this week, how Winston started this game real fast, and then they just slowed to a bit of a crawl and allowed Bowie to kind of slowly ease back into the game. I mean, and that was sort of my fear, is that they have a tendency to do all that. And so, I mean, the score looks a lot closer than what it probably should have been. There were a lot of penalties. Yeah, Bowie outgained them, but Winston finds a way to pull this one out in the end and keep enough distance. So it's almost like they had a running start in a way, because I'm just worried that if they didn't have that running start, would it turn out the same way? But hey,
Kobe, stop smiling.
they got it done. They got it done.
Hey, man. You cut the highlights. You cut the best part out, Kobe. You cut the best part out. You gotta give my man a touchdown catch. I mean, now Kobe, look, you gave him a slow mo for that, but we couldn't get a slow mo for Caleb Washington between two defenders, dog. Come on now. Yeah. And as we watch the touchdown, number 4 for David Lee on the day. Great catch by Caleb Washington. Man. Again, it's like I said last week, man. I just, like you said, a double-digit win. Yeah, we know it should have been that, but again, these guys just always, unless you're playing in Lincoln, unless you're playing in Lincoln at home, they're never going to make it easy on us. They're just never going to make it easy on us. That just is what it is. And make it so damn hard to go easy and to just relax. But shout out to Justin Fleming, WSSU legend. Okay, Kobe thinks he's cute. Okay. You got to take that up. You got to take that up with the man. You could have asked him where his headset was, Kobe. You interviewed him. Anyway, don't get on here now. But so the Rams win, just like the week before. They lost, and it almost didn't count this year. This week they won. So big matchup there. A lot of big matchups in the CIAA. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Devontae DeLoach, 3 touchdowns. Man, how clutch has he been in that free agency move from WSSU? All right, let's go look at some of the standouts from HBCU football at the Division II level. And sorry, guys, I didn't get a chance to make a graphic for this, but we do want to recognize some of the standouts. And Chris, you stop me if there's anybody that I missed or anybody you want to point out. I had Krishawn Sellers from Clark Atlanta, 6 catches, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They lost, but I mean, that's a pretty great game. Demetrius Patterson of Benedict, 8 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles.
Oh my gosh. Feast.
Woo! Yeah, man.
That's a mauling.
That certainly is. We had Curtis Allen, aforementioned, 278 yards, rushing 2 touchdowns. Another big game for him. Dalen Lee, 4 touchdowns in the win over Bowie State. He is currently 4th in Division II in touchdowns. So through 5 games and over 1,000 yards. He's got some competition in the quarterback ranks. Kelvin Durham, again, he was playing Bluefield State, but hey, 4 touchdowns, 297 yards, damn near perfect on his day. So he did what needed to be done. The assignment was understood, and they put up 69 points. We got Devontae DeLoach, 12 catches, 3 touchdowns. He leads the CIAA in touchdown receptions with 6 at this point. And then we also have Kenyon Gardner from Livingstone, 6 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. So, yeah, man, what are your thoughts, man? Anybody who anything that stands out?
I mean, you got to give it to Dalen Lee and Devontae DeLoach. That connection continues to pay dividends. So I think that's a real standout. I mean, Curtis Allen goes without saying at this point. I want to say, you had Juve Austin as well. Had
they would have said I put too many Rams in there.
But also mentioned Samuel Graham at Bowie State also had double-digit tackles, strip sack. He's been featured as a player of the week multiple times this year already for Bowie State. So definitely. A shout out to him. Bobby Smith is another one, running back, Johnson C. Smith. He's a first-year player, and he's been really, doing really well for them. And is getting a lot of burn for the Golden Bulls. And so, probably a few other of those guys that to sort of highlight there. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to see, how these guys continue to play at a high level week in and week out. So very familiar names.
Yeah. You want an example of Curtis Allen and what he did last week. And yeah, totally. Shout out to Alonzo here. Total yards of offense. He had, yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. You got year after year, you got running backs there that get well over 100 yards a game. That's not named Jada Byers, and but what he's able to do. I mean, it takes 2 or 3 people to stop him. I mean, that it's a grown man against boys out there. So it's incredible what he's been able to do thus far. So, and that's just rushing yards, ain't it? A 692, that's just rushing yards. That doesn't count him catching the ball out the backfield, which he's done. So,
Yep. I see Kobe's doing a lot of research over there on Virginia Union, but I have to get all the stats for WSSU. But we see how this is going. A lot, and we'll talk more about him. We'll actually hear from WSSU head coach Robert Massey about what he did, what he's been doing, and how they have to deal with him. Shout out to Ramley Only, says Juve Austin stats: 13 tackles, 9 solo, 5.5 tackle for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. I do remember. Yeah, I mean, he went wild out there. I do remember at the Virginia State game, the coaches were really kind of on them about, they felt like he could play better. And he took that personally. And he took it out on the Bulldogs, who, talk about that almost doesn't count. We could have highlighted their field goal kicker because he got a lot of work. And, hey, he was consistent. He was there, sure consistent. So, as we see our guy breaking down the Bulldogs, hopefully he looked really great. I started the screenshot. He looked really great in that WSSU red and black. Man, it felt good to put that on, brother. That felt good to put that on. Stop playing with it. Man. But, he says he has Bowie State by 2 touchdowns. Will Bowie State even score 2 touchdowns? We don't know. Don't know. got 5 kicks in one game. Can he kick it? Yes, he can. Will Bowie win it? That remains to be seen. All right. Let's pull this up. We're gonna play a little bit of buy or sell. Buy or sell. All right. So are we buying Virginia Union's passing game? Because we're talking a lot about Curtis Allen, and rightfully so. I mean, this is what he has in 4 games. He's on pace to flirt with that 2,000-yard mark for sure. But yeah, he's really putting up some great prolific numbers. But you talk about diversity and the passing game. Right now he's averaging 9 yards carry, so it's kind of tough. But hey, there have been games previously where he and Jada Byers have been human, and they did need passing last year from Mark Wright. And there were times where Rosales got it done as well. Are you buying the VUU passing game right now?
No. Because like the problem with VUU is, so Mark Wright is not on the team anymore. He decided to sit the rest of the season out. So is Rosales and Miles Derricott, and that's it. And so Rosales is great with his feet. He can extend plays as well. I just don't feel like they have that game breaker wide receiver like they've had, like RJ Vick last year, who could really get separation, and some of the great receivers before that, who, they ended up, getting their degree, transferring. Charles Hall, went to Arizona State, and so, over the years, right? So they just don't have that one. I just don't feel like they have that consistent WR1. And so I think that's making it a little bit harder on their passing game. Some could say they don't really need to do a whole lot. But I'm not sure about the passing game right now. I'm not a buyer.
Yeah, man. You mentioned RJ Vick, man, and just the game breaker that he was last year. Right now, he does not have a catch for Wake Forest. So, you think, you never know what's going on there, but you think, man, how much more dangerous could they be with a guy like him and some of those other guys that ended up leaving? But that happens when you have success and you have talented players in this day and age. So. You're buying.
Yeah.
You're not buying it.
No, and I forgot. So I was trying to remember his name, John Giles, right? You had Charles Hall, then you had John Giles, they had RJ Vick, and now it's like this big question mark as to who's the next big number one option, and it's just been kind of hard to see who that person is right now. So yeah, no, I'm not a buyer.
All right. Yeah, we'll see this week. Again, last year I do remember Coach Robert Massey said that, they kind of felt like they were one-dimensional offensively and they exploded. But again, Mark Wright and Reginald Vick were there, and they're not this year. So we shall see. Okay, are we buying Livingstone's offense, Chris?
What did Livingstone even do last week in terms of offense? It's against Lincoln. Okay, Livingstone, I didn't even look at the stats, right? Because it's Lincoln. I didn't even bother. But before Livingstone, it's been a very uneven affair for them. They don't have you see some of these other teams in the conference that have really explosive offenses, and they can get big pass plays, big running plays. That's not really what Livingstone is to me. They kind of more of a gritted out kind of team, and their defense is their offense, in my opinion, in terms of giving their offense, better opportunities. No, I'm not feeling the offense, and I'm not a buyer of their offense.
Okay. Well, and let's see. I did actually get some research in. So yeah, I did the research. I won't share the screen, but So in their game against Lincoln, they got a 50-yard touchdown pass. They got a 24-yard touchdown run. They had a field goal. They got another 20-yard run. So they had some big plays. So they had a lot of big plays. But as a team, they had 16 first downs, 9 of them through the air, 5 on the ground, 2 via penalties. Ran for 138 yards, average of 4 a carry, passed for 240, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So, they just kind of took what they did. But, hey, they are 3-1, 2-0. Let's see.
I mean, I think you got to give kudos to Elijah Alexander. I mean, he's kind of been splitting snaps, the last couple games. But, I mean, I felt like this was his opportunity to have that breakout game, and he did, passing for 198 yards. So, kudos to him. Yeah, he is big. He's like 6'4". He's a JUCO transfer, because that was a big question coming into the season for them is, what is the quarterback situation looking like? And he's definitely been able to, feels like he's solidifying his place as the starter, or at least getting the majority of the snaps. So.
Okay. All right. I see. Alonzo, you're past VU's passing game and school colors, so you hate maroon too. Yeah, man, it's pure red over here, dog. You know how that goes. But you are buying Allen. Yeah, who would not buy that? All right. And okay, finally, last to buy or sell. Are we buying, Chris? Are we buying Fayetteville State's offense?
Oh, gosh, man. Boy, I was dumping Fayetteville State's offense like tea in the Boston Harbor at the beginning of the season. It was so bad. It was so sketchy. But right now, yeah, I am buying it. I think that they have definitely found something. I think that Damari Daniels leading the offense is it was vintage Damari. I mean, in the way that he was able to, find some ways to create some holes. The wide receiver is starting to get a little bit more separation. I think they're just, they're getting more reps, and so I feel like they're starting to find their own groove too. And so, when it's clicking, it's clicking. And, I'm a big fan of what they do. At least they try to get into those third and shorts. They're kind of like the Eagles, third and short. They're probably going to get it. They're not doing the tush push. They don't have to. They have their own setup. So they're a dangerous team, man. 2 in a row like this. And now they got to play, them, that team in Maryland. I mean, on the road. That's always a fun game. Those two matching up together. So, yes, I'm a buyer of their offense. They will score more than 17, I think. I think they will score more than 17.
Yeah, man. We'll talk about that one in a second again, because some really huge matchups coming up, particularly in the CIAA. Shout out to Sly and Jamie, who go really in depth with the SIAC. Just before us on our D2 Wednesdays, we also dropped the Teddy Keaton show as well. Please, guys, make sure you're liking the stream before you leave. Just go ahead and do it now, make it easier. And then also make sure you download the HBCU Game Day app and download our podcast, whether you use Spotify or iTunes. Either way, Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you guys do that and support that. So, again, if it's just too much eye candy for you and, for some reason you have to turn this off or you just want to hear us again, this will be on the podcast form as well. All right. All
I gotta say about Fayetteville State is the rumors of their demise was greatly exaggerated. Man, the way they've come out.
Yeah, they just won't go back in the closet. All right. Let's see. Let's turn our attention to this week again. All right, we're on. We got a B2A watch. We got B2A watch. Yeah, let's see. All right, so we will start off with a pretty obvious one. This is one of your favorites, Chris. A D2 FCS matchup: Savannah State at South Carolina State. Yeah, man, Chris. How ugly do you expect this to get?
Ugly. I mean,
will they be calling Orangeburg Child Protective Services on them?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. All right, say none other. All right, do we also have a B2A watch for? I have Albany State is going to be taking on Lane.
We've already seen what they can do against a team with a capable offense. It's not like Allen didn't get yards. It's just that, Albany State, they just ran up the score on even their backup quarterback had like 2 or 3 touchdowns against Clark. I mean, Lane, oh gosh, yeah, this is going to be ugly. Man, this is going to be ugly.
Lawanda ugly. All right. Some of y'all youngins may not know about that, but look it up. All right. Let's go to our games to watch for the week. We got a lot to talk about here. So we'll start off. Since we've been talking about the Blue Horses, Fayetteville State, they will be taking on Bowie State. This reunion of 2 old friends. Luckily for Fayetteville State, it won't be in Salem, Virginia. And Damon Wilson is not the head coach. So yeah, Chris, talk to me about this matchup, your expectations, and is this a chance? Is this where? Just tell me what your thoughts are about this game.
Well, I mean, if you're Bowie State, I mean, the problem that they have was very evident last week. You can get to the 20, you can't score a touchdown, and that's trouble. That's just pure trouble. And when you think about how they struggled against Livingstone, it was the defensive line was really taking advantage of the OL. Now you go to Winston, or Winston comes up there, and they put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and that made it real difficult for him. I mean, Fayetteville State's defensive line is like really, really good. You talk about like Sean Robinson and Isaiah Boyd and that crew. That's a really good defensive line that is just going to continue the horror story nightmares that Bowie State's likely to have. It's a must-win game. Unfortunately, this is a game to me that signals a doom alert. This is not going to be. This is not a game that I'm picking Bowie State. No. Fayetteville State has opportunity to go 0-3 and turn around and be at 500. They are on a mission right now. Yeah. No. And Bowie's just got. What's the right QB though? I mean, is Kevin Taylor the answer? I don't know. I don't think so. But I mean, he may be the best. I don't know who the best option is. Let me stop playing. I mean, a can of what? What are you opening a can of? A can of something to
a can of disappointment.
Right. This is a family show, so I'm going to refrain from. not going to be good, man. I'm just not feeling it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm gonna say, man. Hey, keep hope alive, brother. Keep hope alive. The dedication is hey, it's there. I told you the other day, man. I told you the other day. I told you the other day. Oh man, he hit it with the go-go. Oh man. I told you the other day, Clarence, we tried to run an intervention with you. We've been where you are. We've been where you are. It's hard to accept it. It's hard to accept it. But
That's
we've been
true.
where you are.
I mean, that's true. That they had opportunities to win both games as bad as the offense is, but I mean, Winston let off of the accelerator, and that's to me like that's typical Winston behavior. I mean, that doesn't surprise anybody. We know that if they want to unload the passing game and just abandon the run, that they could do it, and it get ugly, you know. And you fell into the Livingstone trap. If you want a street fight, you don't get into street fights with Livingstone Blueberries, man. You just don't do that.
Not on
No,
Westman Road. No.
no,
They love a fight just as much as y'all do.
right?
Ask
Yeah,
your cheerleaders from a couple years ago in the CIAA. I don't know if I'm supposed to bring that up. But they like to fight just as much, if not more, than y'all do.
yeah.
If you know. All right. Enough. All right. We've got enough there. Let's see. Okay. All right. Shout out to Clarence. He always makes it fun. All right. Always makes it fun. All right. Tuskegee versus Morehouse. Tuskegee, they felt good about themselves. They felt good about themselves early in the season, got a win over WSSU. They were able to get a win over Central State, a shutout win, and everybody thought that Tuskegee back. Then they went to Jackson. Then they went to Columbia. Then they came home. And man, not what you want out of the Golden Tigers, but usually Morehouse playing Morehouse anywhere is usually a cure for what ails you. But hey, this is a Morehouse team that almost took down the mighty Tigers of Edward Waters. So, yeah, Chris, nothing but cat fights in the SIAC. How do you see Tuskegee and Morehouse? Is this the week for Morehouse if they get a win?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Tuskegee is a team that can beat you certainly on the ground, and they got a more than serviceable passing game that's going to keep Morehouse off kilter. I mean, you got to like what Morehouse has been able to do, trying to put something together and steal a win somehow. If you're Tuskegee, though, you can't let Morehouse linger around for very long. I mean, they definitely are pulling something together there. But no, I think that I think Tuskegee's gonna have more than enough to keep it going. I don't think Morehouse's defense is going to be enough to slow them down to give their offense a chance.
And on cue, as soon as we talk about Morehouse, here comes Sly. Hey, got to do something. Hey, what they say, the definition of insanity is keeping doing the same thing. Hey, go for it, Morehouse. I won't judge you. All right. Now, another big game. Two teams, I believe they were picked second and third in the CIAA, second and third. Johnson C. Smith and Virginia State. Both teams have a loss in conference already. So the loser of this game risks having two losses, and once you get to that two, you're out there on a wing and a prayer. We saw VSU. This is actually, which is crazy, this is actually their first home game of the season. If you think about it, they started off on Barton, who is 0-4, by the way. They started off against Barton. They played at Norfolk State. They played at Bowman Gray. They went to Fayetteville. So they finally get a chance to play in Petersburg. Ettrick. And they're facing the Johnson C. Smith team. The last time they went up to Virginia, they came back with their golden tails between their legs. But hey, they got a chance to beat up on Bluefield State. Now, again, it's interesting. Last year when they won this game, it was one of those ones that was by a slim margin, and they were on Betty Ford Road. But now they got to come up to the hill. They got to come up to that hill over there at Ettrick. They can stop off by the Wawa before they go through the gate and get them a little something. But what are your thoughts here?
Well, when you talk about get backs, JCSU last year got a chance to beat VSU at home. Now they got to go on the road and do it again. And their last trip to Virginia, to that area, was 2 weeks ago, and it did not go very well. So if they want to be contenders, they got to learn how to win on the road. At the same time, man, you've got a VSU team that's got some real question marks after last week's loss, because now there's a blueprint on how to beat Virginia State. Honestly, one, don't turn over the ball, aka Winston, and two, both of those teams showed that you can go to the air to do it. So. And three, you bottle up RJ Matthews, so where he has to force the pass. So, man, that's an interesting one. They both have big question marks, and yeah, just like you said, the stakes couldn't be any higher in this game. They really can't be.
So who's gonna win?
I'm going with Johnson C. Smith. I think that they're definitely going to have the upper edge on the road. That they're going to be able to do some things that to do it consistently with Kelvin Durham. That I think that the home crowd is really going to help with VSU, but I do think that JCSU is gonna eat this one out.
Well, they need the home crowd to show up, Chris. I pulled their attendance stats from last year. Not very great. Not very great. So, yeah, man, they're going to need the home crowd to be on their side. I think one thing that Johnson C. Smith has going for it is that this game is during daylight hours. So Virginia State cannot turn the lights out on them if they start winning like they did back in 2017. So, yeah, man, it's hard to see the Trojans losing twice in a row, but I don't know, Chris. It's a lot on the line here. Because the loser has 2 losses, and they've still got the rest of their divisional conference schedule. Virginia State probably won't be challenged again until they play Virginia Union. Whereas if you're if you're Johnson C. Smith, you still got to play Winston, and you still got to play Fayetteville State, and you still got to play Livingstone, who put an L on you last year, and Shaw, who gave you a tight game last year. So, yeah, man, literally both teams are in a must-win right now. So stakes could not be any higher right there in Ettrick. All right. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please, guys, make sure you hit that like button. All right. So then we've got Benedict versus Allen. So, Allen last week rolled down the road, feeling pretty good about themselves. And Albany State, they just took all that away. The belts are still in the air over there. And now they get it. And now what do you get? You get to come home to home sweet home. It's local. You don't have to go far. It's nice. You get to sleep in your own bed but you got to play Big Bad Benedict.
Mm.
What do you-
Dun, dun, dun. Benedict defense, man. I mean, we've seen what happens to Allen when they play good defenses. We've seen it with Livingstone. We've seen it with Albany, and now they got to play their rival Benedict. No, no. I mean, no, no. I just no. I'm not feeling it. For
Is
Allen.
is this a doom alert?
Yes, 2 times. Yes,
Fire it up, Kobe. Fire it up. They got that
yes,
doom alert. They got that doom alert. Allen, you in
yeah,
danger. You in
yeah.
danger, Allen. Yeah.
Help! Somebody send help.
Sly says Benedict is big, mean, and nasty. It might get ugly. Whew.
Mhm.
All right. All right. And yeah, we'll finish out with our last game here. Virginia Union, take it. No. So a B2A clearance is 21 points. A B2A is 21 points. So yeah. When was the last time WSSU had a BTA, you ask? The last time WSSU had a BTA against itself was, wow. It was against North Carolina Central, a ranked FCS team in 2023. So, no, there's not a BTA alert for this clearance. So, you mad. All right. So let's start this off. Virginia Union, Winston-Salem State. This is a series. Let me paint a picture for you guys, because the CIAA, the coaches, they're focused on the coaches, and they don't do a great job, in my opinion, of painting pictures and creating rivalries and telling a story. So these two teams have played each other consistently over the last 75 years. Over the last 50 years, this has really been a great series. The series is 28-24-1 in favor of Virginia Union. These teams have met in the CIAA championship game 5 times. Hall of Fame coaches between both places. So there's a lot of history between the two. But because they are not in the same division or running the same division, they don't play each other every year. But great rival, great series for sure. And so yeah, both teams come in. WSSU is 3-2, 3-1 for Virginia Union. Of course, Winston-Salem State already has one loss in conference play. Virginia Union does not have a conference loss. So let's go back to Richmond because Chris, you asked about this game, and then we'll hear from Coach Parker, and then we'll hear from Coach Massey.
That's the first thing, and every CIAA game is important. You're in that midst of the season where you can't, you can't overlook, you can't look past, you can't look around because everybody's going to play extremely tough. And Winston has a great ball club. Coach Massey does a great job down there, and I'm having those guys ready. Looking at them guys on film, they can do a lot of good things on offense and defense. So, it's just preparation kind of as usual for us. Our guys going to attack this week just like we kind of been attacking every other week. Not making it bigger or definitely not making it smaller than what it is. But when you're playing against teams in the CIAA now, it's always a match. It's always a tough match. And you can kind of look at the, how teams are kind of evening up. Things are a lot more parity in this league now. Where it's going to be games week in and week out, that you're going to see a lot of close games, a lot of tight games, a lot of competitive games. So, and that's just hats off to all the coaches in the league for stepping it up and making sure that, they're doing everything so we can be talked about, like you said, on a national stage where multiple times this year, CIAA games are games of the week, that people want to focus on and see. That wasn't necessarily a big thing of the past, but you see that a whole lot, this year. So, extremely excited about that, and we want to go out there and make sure we do our part. That's kind of our thing when it comes to this. We want to show up and play our brand of football against a good ball club down there against Winston-Salem. Bowman Gray has always been a tough place to play, even back when I was a player. We knew when we went to Bowman Gray, we had to scrap it up. So nothing has changed. It's going to be that type of game on Saturday.
Like we were a year ago, heavy run and pass when they have to. So, and I don't think their quarterback is good as David. I'm just being honest and fair about this conversation. But at the end of the day, Alvin's a really good back. But he was a backup a year ago, so we know him, we're familiar with him, and we played against him. So, again, I'll talk about this probably till the day I die from football. We fear no one. We're respecting, but we fear no one. So with that being said, we're looking forward to that challenge. It took a lot longer than we really wanted it to, but things are moving in the direction we're trending the way we want to. Last year we finished up 7-3, which I thought was a pretty good record. But again, and we have the ability to win one more, which will be 8-2. That will get us into the championship game, and that's the goal. We don't want to win. We don't plan on that. We'll lose any more games this season. So to be in the mix and still be relatively healthy, we're blessed and we're happy. And we're excited about it.
I feel like these are the games that really we thrive for. Honestly, pressure is not a big thing for us. Pressure is always a thing, but the coaching staff does a great job with us, keeping us humble, keeping us steadfast. We just focus on the big picture, and the big picture is trying to get there to November 15th at Durham County Stadium. Trying to bring back the Saturday championship where it belongs.
Yeah, I'm picking off what he said about pressure. I feel like pressure makes diamonds, and it's a privilege to have pressure because a lot of people see it from the outside, but it's not like it's harder than it looks. But we in control of our destiny, so I like that position, and I feel like we can win with like that.
All right, Chris. So we heard from both parties. You were the one asking the questions there earlier. So we shall see. But Chris, you asked the questions to Coach Dr. Alvin Parker. You asked him about those things that were going on and everything like that. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about this? And man.
Well, first of all, I feel like this has a potential to be a very penalty-heavy game. I mean, these are two teams that are very intense in the way that they play, especially the defenses, very opportunistic, and so that has a tendency to do really good things or really bad things to you, depending on what end you're on. And so, I'm a little bit more concerned if VUU gets behind the sticks than I am if Winston-Salem State gets behind the sticks and gets off schedule. But I'm also concerned about Winston's ability to consistently stop the run, because we've just seen time and time again that when they play a mobile quarterback, that quarterback tends to give them fits. So, and you can't arm tackle Curtis Allen. He's too big and too strong. So, my thoughts. If you, first of all, if you don't have a repeat of what you had last year, because that's what happened against Virginia State, right? All the turnovers. If Winston cannot have a bunch of turnovers, and then that's definitely going to serve them very well. But I also think that, like, as much as they want to establish the run, I don't know if it's really going to be there. Winston's not really a running team. Maybe they're going to look at considering some screens if that defense is really aggressive, and doing something like that to get the ball into, like Timothy Ruff. He had a reception for touchdown, or some of those running backs. But yeah, I just think that in order for Winston to win this game, I mean, they're going to have to definitely put up points. I mean, the VUU is going to get into the 20s at a minimum. Can they do it? They play better at home. So, yeah. But they're going to have to shut down VUU's run game, too, and force them to pass. And I don't know if that's going to happen. So, yeah. And yeah, that's my thoughts. I think that VUU is going to win this game. I'll be pleasantly surprised, but I feel like I'm hedging all over again. Curtis Allen is on my fantasy team. I'm not pulling him out of the starting role. I just think that he's definitely going to get yards. It's going to be a matter of slowing them down enough to make it happen. Will they rise to the occasion? Is the question.
Yeah. Oh, look. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say this. This is their moment for WSSU. This is their moment. This is, last week they needed to win that one, and as much as they tried to give it away, they didn't. They won that one. But this is like especially after last year, because I feel like out of all the games last year, even against the A&T game, this is the one game where they just looked outclassed. And so, can they channel that energy? Can they fix that focus and say, hey, we're not going to let last year beat us again twice. We know that they have a super potent running game, but we got a damn great passing game. We got receivers that can, make plays happen. And, for Coach Robert Massey and his staff, this is literally now or never. Like, if you win this game, you guys are still in the hunt, and you got a lot of people believing in you. If you lose this game, you're down 2 losses already, and to 2 teams that, you're already out. You're dead. So it's do or die. The game is at home. It's for you. Don't be afraid to be great. Don't be afraid to be great. Sometimes, we look at that Virginia State game, and they had trouble stopping the run in that game for sure, like you said, on a lot of different fronts. Don't be afraid to be great. Look, if the run game isn't there, sometimes you just gotta go back and let David Lee cook and force him to beat you in a track meet. Like, at a certain point, you just got to because that might be your best play. We'll see what happens. I like the Rams to get it done. I put my heart in it. And we know what happened the last time we were right here, and they got it stomped.
Broken.
But you know what? Broken. But, hey, we're right back again. Charge. Let's go. All right. So you guys let us know in the chat what you think. Obviously, we know what Clarence thinks. We know what Clarence thinks. We know what Alonzo thinks, but let us know in the chat. And we're getting ready to wrap this sucker up. But I appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody. Definitely. VUU definitely got cooked in the air against Edward Waters. So, they are not impenetrable, but that defensive line is very much imposing. So should be a great game, should be a great crowd there. A lot of big games in the CIAA. When we get back here next week, Chris, man, it's going to be a different world. It's going to be a different world. Either Johnson C. Smith or Virginia State are going to have 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
Either Winston-Salem State will have overcome the big bad Union bullies, or Union will probably pretty much have sewn up their championship spot because they're not going to lose to anybody else in the North unless maybe they decide to let VSU beat them again. So, it's a lot at stake. So should be a fun weekend. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please make sure you guys pay attention to all the other stuff that we got going on as well. And we will catch you guys in the next video. Okay, Kobe, let's take it to the apartments.